Prior to the Babylonian exile, the southern kingdom of Judah entered a severe spiritual decline. This period of intense moral decay aligns with the reign of King Manasseh, who ruled from 697 to 642 BC. Manasseh actively dismantled the sweeping religious reforms established by his father, King Hezekiah. He drove the nation into deep, systemic idolatry and occult practices. The text of Isaiah chapter 57, verse 1 states, "The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart, and merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come." During this era of corruption, the general public misunderstood these deaths. They observed the loss of the righteous, but failed to recognize the theological reason behind it. God proactively removes faithful individuals from the earth to spare them from the impending national catastrophe. Under a deeply corrupt regime, the prophet reframes early death. It is not a tragedy, but a deliberate act of divine deliverance from the approaching judgment. The text of Isaiah chapter 57, verse 2 states, "He shall enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness." The text asserts that physical death for the faithful operates as a direct transition into true, undisturbed peace in the presence of God. The silence and absolute peace of the grave stand in sharp contrast to the escalating moral corruption and anxiety consuming the surviving nation. This carved entrance to a rock-cut tomb near Jerusalem grounds the historical reality of ancient Judean burial practices. King Josiah serves as the primary historical exemplar of this exact promise, a righteous monarch whom God mercifully allowed to die and rest in peace before he could witness the destruction of Jerusalem. The physical graves of the righteous operate as silent testimonies of divine mercy, permanently separating the faithful from the wrath destined for the apostates. We now turn to the condemnation of the wicked. Isaiah chapter 57, verses 3 and 4 state, "But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorceress, the seed of the adulterer and the whore. Against whom do ye sport yourselves? Against whom make ye a wide mouth, and draw out the tongue? Are ye not children of transgression, a seed of falsehood?" The text identifies these apostates as arrogant mockers of righteousness and children of transgression, entirely committed to their false gods. Next, we examine the depths of their idolatry. Isaiah chapter 57, verse 5 state, "Inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valleys, under the cliffs of the rocks." This severe condemnation refers to the practice of Molech worship, which required the systemic sacrifice of children. This photograph shows the harsh topography of the Valley of Hinnom, just south of Jerusalem, the precise location where these horrific rituals occurred. Israel's literal geographic descent into these dark valleys perfectly mirrors their complete theological descent away from covenantal faithfulness. Isaiah chapter 57, verse 6 states, "Among the smooth stones of the stream is thy portion, they are thy lot. Even to them hast thou poured a drink offering, thou hast offered a meat offering. Should I receive comfort in these?" The nation had adopted the apostate practice of retrieving ordinary smooth stones from streambeds, anointing them with oil, and assigning them divine attributes. They committed a profound theological violation by pouring drink offerings and presenting meat offerings to these inanimate objects instead of to the Creator. This behavior represents the widespread adoption of Canaanite superstitious rites, substituting the prescribed worship of God with pagan mechanics. By elevating common river stones to the status of deities, the nation actively forfeited the unique holy covenant they possessed with God. The following passage explains the geopolitical and spiritual betrayals of the nation. Isaiah chapter 57, verse 7 states, "Upon a lofty and high mountain hast thou set thy bed, even thither wentest thou up to offer sacrifice." The lofty and high mountain carries immense theological significance. These peaks served as locations for high places, shrines dedicated to Canaanite deities like Baal and Asherah. Deuteronomic law explicitly commanded the Israelis to worship exclusively at the central temple in Jerusalem. Building shrines on these mountain peaks was a direct, intentional violation of that law. The construction of these high places was not mere spiritual negligence. It was a calculated, physical usurpation of God's centralized authority. The prophet uses the imagery of an enlarged bed and foreign sacrifices as a direct metaphor for spiritual adultery. This spiritual adultery maps exactly to the literal political alliances Judah formed with pagan empires in a desperate attempt to secure military protection. This stone relief depicts imposing Assyrian archers, illustrating the brutal military power that King Ahaz of Judah initially sought out for false security. Securing these alliances required Judah to deliberately adopt the dominating nation's religious practices and incorporate their false gods into daily worship. Later kings courted Babylon, shown here by this reconstructed blue-tiled gateway. By inviting this overwhelming pagan influence into their borders, Judah guaranteed the massive cultural corruption and military invasion that laid waste to Jerusalem in 586 BC. Ultimately, trusting in these foreign empires over their divine covenant ensured their total destruction by the very pagan nations they so desperately courted. This concludes our overview.